Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to tackle one of the biggest hurdles in calculus, integration. We're going to build a mental toolkit that'll take you from just staring at a problem completely lost to confidently finding the solution. So, let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? You see some super complex integral and your brain just freezes. It's this kind of mathematical paralysis, and trust me, it happens to absolutely everyone. But the good news is, there's a way to push right through it.
I mean, look at these. Problems like these can seem completely overwhelming at first glance, almost like they're designed to be confusing. But the truth is, every single one of them has a logical starting point. You just need a system to find it.
So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start by talking about why we get stuck, the integration impasse. Then we'll lay out our strategy for success. We'll even cover a cool shortcut based on recognizing patterns. Then the fun part. We'll put it all to the test with some tough examples and finish with one simple, golden rule.
First up, the integration impasse. Let's get one thing straight. Getting stuck isn't about not knowing enough math. Nope, it's usually about not having a system, a mental framework for how to attack a brand new problem.
The secret weapon here is a concept called metacognition. It sounds fancy, but it's really simple. It's the skill of thinking about your own thinking. So this isn't about memorizing more formulas. It's about learning how to look at an integral and ask yourself, okay, what kind of problem is this, and which tool from my toolkit is the right one for the job?
And that brings us right to our solution, a concrete strategy. I want you to think of this next part as a decision flowchart, a master key that can unlock pretty much any integration problem you're ever going to face.
So here it is, our four-step framework. Think of it like a checklist you run through every single time in this exact order. First, you simplify. Can you make the problem look easier before you even start? If not, you move to step 2. You look for a substitution. If that doesn't work, then you try to classify the problem type. And if you're still stuck, step 4 is your reset button. Try again. That means you change the integral's form and you start the whole process over.
Let's break down those first 2 steps a bit more. Simplify is all about just cleaning up the problem. Ask yourself, can I expand something? Can I use a trig identity to make this look friendlier? You'd be surprised how many problems get solved right here. If not, you move to your most powerful tool, substitution. Here, you're on the hunt for a function that's kind of nestled inside another one, whose derivative is also hanging around somewhere in that integral.
Now, if the basics don't work, you level up. Step 3, classification, is where you become a detective. You're looking for classic signatures that point to specific techniques, like integration by parts or partial fractions. And step 4, try again, is your crucial escape hatch. It doesn't mean you failed, it just means you need a new angle. You actively change the problem. Maybe you multiply by a conjugate, and then you take that brand new integral right back to step 1 and run the process again.
Okay, so once you get really comfortable with that flowchart, you start to level up. You begin developing this expert intuition by recognizing common problem patterns at a glance.
Think of this as your pattern recognition guide. With a little bit of practice, certain types of problems will just trigger an instant response. For example, if you see a simple algebraic function, like x, times something like e to the x or sine of x, a transcendental function, your brain should immediately shout integration by parts. Or if you see a fraction with polynomials, your first thought should be partial fractions. This mental shortcut is really the key to developing speed and fluency.
All right, enough theory. Let's put our new strategy to the test. We're going to go back to those really intimidating integrals from the beginning, and we're going to dismantle them one by one.
And here is our first challenger. At first glance, this thing is a mess. It's got logs, fractions, square roots. It feels like it could be anything. But let's just follow the flowchart.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the strategy in action. Before we panic, we just run our checklist. Step 1, simplify. Not much to do there. So on to step 2, look for a substitution. Is there a function whose derivative is also somewhere in there? And suddenly you see it. The derivative of natural log of x is 1 over x, and it is sitting right there in the denominator. That's our opening.
And that one little observation changes everything. We let u equal the natural log of x. This is the key that unlocks the whole thing. It means du is 1 over x dx, which perfectly accounts for the other pieces. And look what happens. That entire intimidating mess just collapses into the much simpler integral of u over the square root of 1 plus u squared. Now that is a problem we can handle. We solve it, we substitute ln x back in for u, and we are done.
Okay, next up. This one looks a lot simpler, but it's actually kind of tricky.
So let's run the flowchart. Step 1, simplify? No. Step 2, substitution? There's no obvious function derivative pair here, is there?
So our flowchart points us straight to step 4, try again. We need to manipulate this problem. And a classic trick for expressions with 1 minus sine x is to multiply the top and bottom by its conjugate, 1 plus sine x. Now why would we do that? Well, because it creates a 1 minus sine squared x in the denominator, and we know from our trig identities that that's just cosine squared x, which is way easier to work with.
And for our final example, we've got a rational function, a polynomial divided by a polynomial. Now, your brain might immediately jump to partial fractions. But wait, let's stick to the flowchart. What's step 1? Simplify first.
So here's the crucial rule you absolutely have to remember. Whenever the degree of the polynomial on top is greater than or equal to the degree on the bottom, your first move must be polynomial long division. This isn't a suggestion, it's a non-negotiable part of the simplify first step.
After we do the long division, our one big problem splits into two much more manageable parts. We now have to integrate x and then subtract the integral of x over x squared plus 1. Well, the first part is super easy, and the second part is now a perfect candidate for a simple u substitution. By sticking to that simplify first rule, we turned one difficult problem into two very easy ones.
We've built our framework. We've seen it in action. But there's one final, absolutely crucial piece of advice that holds this entire strategy together. It's the one thing you should check before you do anything else. This is the golden rule.
This is it. Before you even think about trying a complex technique, integration by parts, trig substitution, any of that stuff, always take 30 seconds to hunt for a simple u substitution. Just like we saw in our first example, a really terrifying-looking integral can become almost trivial if you just spot that hidden relationship.
So here it is, your new toolkit. You've got a 4-step flowchart to guide you when you're lost. You've got a growing ability to recognize patterns to get faster. You've got the courage to manipulate a problem that just won't cooperate. And above all, you have the golden rule. Always look for that simple substitution first.
You know, the real shift happens when you stop seeing these problems as a chore and you start seeing them as a puzzle. The goal isn't just to get an answer anymore, it's to find the cleanest, most elegant path to get there. Thanks for joining me.